Hello, I'm back. So I have not filmed a reading in a very, very long time. I'm just gonna get right into it. Um, I would explain where I've been and why I stopped, but that would that would be pointless. That would take far too much time. And all that you really need to know is that I'm here now. I don't have the setup that I used to, but the messages are all that really matters, aren't they? So I'm just gonna get into it. Just see what comes out. Whatever message spirit wants to say. I got two cards. I got the High Priestess and the Eight of Cups. So, what's really interesting about these two cards, in the moon, you see, or sorry, in the Eight of Cups, you see the moon in like this frustrated state fighting the sun. In the High Priestess is holding the moon. I feel like what it's saying is that, like, your intuition is fighting with what you're seeing in real time, in real life, like what's happening for you in the 3D world. It's like your intuition's like, none of this makes any sense, none of this is right. I feel like you've had to walk away from something, and it's like you didn't really want to, but you just had to. I even feel like walking away from it might have made things worse for you. Like it might not even look like it was a good thing. It just doesn't make any sense. But like I said, something inside of you was telling you that you had to go. You had to move on. And this journey that you're making, you're at this point right now where you're wondering if it was ever worth it to go on this journey. I'm thinking of that moment, and yes, this is a nerd moment. I'm thinking of that moment where Sam is telling Frodo, I think at the end of the Two Towers, people in those stories, they had many chances to turn back, only they didn't, because they were holding on to something. And he says, what are we holding on to, Sam? That there's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. I think right now you're at a point where you're really losing faith in the journey. You're really losing faith in yourself. And I think that your mental health is really getting in your way, like your mind state. Like you can't hear messages or guidance from spirit right now because you're just so engulfed in things that you can't control, and it's like you want answers so badly. It's like you want to know where you're going to wind up at the end of this journey, but that's not what you're meant to know. It's like spirit is trying to tell you something, but you're too busy asking the wrong question. And it's keeping you stuck. And get one more. The Four of Wands. So these characters are dancing in front of a castle. And being that I'm already on this Lord of the Rings example kick, it kind of reminds me of the Battle of Helm's Deep, how, they all start celebrating, and then Gandalf says, the Battle of Helm's Deep is over, but the battle for Middle Earth has begun, right? It's like every victory that you do come to, you know that there's still more ahead that you got to fight through. But with the Four of Wands coming out, this energy of completion and celebration, I think that Spirit wants you to know that the struggle on its way to you, it's kind of like there's beauty to it. Every great story between good and evil, every great story between good and evil had a lot of tragic things in the middle. But at the end, It gives hope. Spirit just wants you to have hope again, faith in yourself, belief and trust that even though right now all you can see is darkness, that if you stop fighting the sun, if your intuition and your logic stop fighting for a second and you just live in the present for a moment, even the Ace of Wands. It's a rain cloud running off with a broom. A witch? Now, why would a witch be running instead of riding their broom? That doesn't make much sense. It's like they're saying that you're not using all the tools and knowledge at your disposal because you've given up on yourself. They had lots of chances to turn back, only they didn't because they were holding on to something. And this witch is holding on to a broom. And that thing you're holding on to, this broom, it can take you to the next step. It can take you to the next destination. If you just get on it. If you just keep going. If you don't turn back. I don't know who needs to hear that. And it's pretty broad, you know, it could relate to a lot of people. It's not very specific. But if you relate to this, then you understand what I mean. Whoever I'm talking to is truly stuck in dark depths. It cannot see light on the other side right now. They are the rain cloud. You know, they are the thing blocking the sun. Your mind state is the thing in your way right now. I think you need to take a step back. Maybe take a small trip. Just go somewhere that makes you feel peaceful. Go somewhere that makes you feel connected. Go be with yourself for a moment so that you can remember what it is that you're holding on to. What it is that kept you going before, you know? There's a lot of power in you. With the Four of Wands and Ace of Wands showing up in you in your reading, there's a lot of spiritual energy surrounding you, a lot of creativity, passion within you. You're hiding it. You need to release it. You need to relate to it. You need to resonate with yourself. You probably already know that. I'm pretty sure that you already know this. I think you just needed to hear it out loud. I think you just need to hear. Interestingly enough, I'm wearing a Tupac shirt, right? What did he say? What did he say? I don't want to get the quote wrong. I'm going to look it up real quick. Remember one thing. Through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. So no matter how hard it gets, stick your chest out, keep your head up, and handle it. That's all I got for you today. I hope this reading helped. Have more faith and fear. Hold on. Sorry, I know I already said goodbye, but I forgot to grab oracles, and being that I was having those Lord of the Rings examples popping up in your reading, I have a Lord of the Rings oracle here, and so I pulled a card out of the oracle, and the one that fell out is the Misty Mountains, which, before I even read this, makes a lot of sense, because the Misty Mountains is that part in the Fellowship of the Ring where they're all on the mountain and they're trying to avoid, you know, going the other two options, where one of them is Moria, and we all know that there's some real danger in Moria, and it avoids going past Isengard, where Saruman is. So they're going through the Misty Mountains, but they get stuck there, right? They get stuck at one point, and they have to make a different decision. You know, they have to choose a different path. So let's see what the Misty Mountain says. Here we go. The Misty Mountains divided the relatively safe area to the west, the Shire and Rivendell, from the far more dangerous realm to the east. It was a major demarcation line, both geographically and symbolically, Beyond this point, a far more serious level of commitment would be required from each of the travelers if they were going to attain their dream of regaining their ancestral kingdom. Personal indications. The value of companionship, recognizing that none of us can make life's journey completely on our own, pulling together in a collective manner so that each of us may survive, pulling our resources, forming protective and supportive links with one another in the face of external dangers and adversities they bring. So I feel like this oracle is showing up for you to highlight the fact that you are headed into a more you're headed into a place that's more less safe. You know, the way of seeing this is kind of like the difference between childhood and adulthood. It's like you have made a very significant, how do I want to say this? I'm so sorry. You've gone through a very significant period of your life that has taken you from comfort to uncertainty. And now that you're in this feeling of uncertainty, your path having given you so much confusion and you don't know what's on the other side and you're ready to give up, right? I think this card is telling you to reach out. You know, if your mind state is what's getting in your way, talk to some more positive people. If you need help with something, ask for it. You know, if the journey and the path that you're trying to take is becoming too hard to handle all on your own, maybe you need a fellowship. I feel like I need one more card from this oracle. Let's just see. I didn't want to make this reading too long, but if I can wrap it up in the next 5 minutes, it's only 20 minutes, and maybe you'll still watch it. I don't know. Us humans have pretty short attention spans, so we'll see what happens. The white tree. The white tree. Now, what's interesting about the white tree is that the guards in Gondor continue to protect it, although it's dead. But they do so having faith that one day, you know, there will be a return of the king, that life will come back to that tree. Before I read this, what it's already telling me is kind of like, you know, to protect yourself, even though you feel dead right now, even though you feel lifeless, even though you feel hopeless, like you still gotta guard that last little sliver of hope within yourself, and you know, not give up on it, not give up entirely. And to anybody who's had extremely dark thoughts, you know, of wanting to leave the living realm, I think this is a message from spirit not to give up yet on yourself, you know, not to give up on life yet. And that's just for a few of you, but sadly there are more people than we think who struggle with thoughts like that. Let's see what it says. The seedling of the white tree was found by Gandalf in a field below the snows of Mount Mindolluin after the great battle for Minas Tirith. It was planted in the court of Minas Tirith, where it swiftly grew and blossomed. Reminding men of the times of the elder days, it was a symbol of victory of life over death. Personal indications. Good news after a period of intensity and contradiction. The opportunity to rebuild on more solid foundations. Renewed growth. Positive developments. Good news after a period of intensity. Yeah. Yeah. So the journey's getting intense. The things you've gone through have been intense, and you're still going through some really intense things. Things feel really, really dark, and you feel almost absent, you know. But I believe that good things are coming, and there is a bright day after the baloney. I'm gonna pull one more oracle. I'm very fond of this oracle deck. It's called the Witch Oracle, woman in total control of herself. And it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. I'm not like I'm not an advertisement. I'm not paid to say this, but do you see how pretty? Look how pretty. It's all gold. Yeah, it's so gold. It's shiny. Just gonna get one from here. I'm gonna read the passage, and then that will conclude our reading. Okay, well, two fell out, so I'm gonna read both of these passages to you, and then that will conclude our reading. And if you stuck around this far, thank you. Know that I tend to take too long to say things sometimes, but I'm working on it. I watched some of my old videos, and I'm better than I used to be in the least. So we've got the Judge. And these cards are so beautiful. I wish I had a better camera to show you. Well, there wasn't like a glare, but in the Songstress. And again, we've got a symbol of a half moon. Intuition, messages, skies, stars showing up for you again. So, number 21, the Judge. Oh, wow. Interestingly enough, I have had this for probably about 6 months or so. And I've pulled, most of the cards have shown up for me in a reading. There's one card in this deck that has a poem after the passage explaining the card, right? And I chose not to ever read the poem until the moment that this card got chosen. And for the first time ever, this card finally fell out. So we're going to read the poem together, I guess. Now, the Judge. She is the mistress of her own power, and she lives in you. Now is the time to call on her. Her message is, trust yourself. There is no source outside your sacred self that can make decisions or choices for you. Your feelings, convictions, experiences, and inner knowledge are enough. The judge asks you right now, who is the ultimate judge of your worth and well-being? Is it a spouse, your kids, a boss, a friend, lover, or family member? Is it a project, a deadline, an expectation? Is it a school or a church or other organization? Is it an old belief, a handed down, outdated thought? Is it a society that demands your conformity? A witch, a woman in total control of herself, knows that the ultimate authority is herself, and therefore she devotes a significant amount of energy listening, tending, and growing the relationship with that self. She is the ultimate judge, listening to all the various voices, thoughts, and opinions, both in her head and in her circle of support, dismissing whatever insults her soul. Now is the time to consult the authority in you and allow yourself to embody her value. Don't shrink for others. You are a galaxy with stars hidden in your skin. Trust yourself. Yeah, hop on that broom, like I said. And here's the poem. It's called The Temple of Belonging. The Church of Fitting In is a tattered doctrine. Peddling the snake oil of self-improvement, it sustains its dying creed from your contortions of worthiness. Bending for approval, twisting for appreciation, bowing and scraping in hopes of sanction through the blood art of performance, prettiness, and productivity. It profits of profit. Believe you are less than and grow rich from the spoils of your complicit agreement. When you believe their creed, you'll purchase the diet, conceal the flaws, tweeze the unwanted, shave the unsatisfying, girdle your nature, deny your deep joy, sacrifice your pleasure on the altar of pleasing others, and suffer the guilt of every stolen freedom. In the unholy name of fitting in, You'll reject all that doesn't grant you access to their idea of perfection and purchase. All that does, what they don't profit from, your belonging. There are no riches in belonging, except for the woman who is willing to embody it. The temple of belonging is golden. Its hallowed ground welcomes you as both priestess and acolyte, and adorns your shoulders with the robes of benefactress and beneficiary. Enter the covenant of your sovereignty. Become your own sanctuary. Drink from the chalice of self-worth. Take communion with the eternal divine. Swallow it down like the seasons and seeds of Persephone's fruit. Give voice to the old songs, the ones that wolf and moon and forest still sing. Dance out of Eden, feet drumming the way back wonder. Chant the holy stories, the truth older than myth, that women are the holy grail, conceiving, conjuring, and delivering every single human being on the planet. Worship at the altar of your soul's deep content, like the moon-drunk curve of lily, the garnet skin of pomegranate, the ink-spill arc of raven's wing, glorious in its unfolding, precisely as it is wild, whole, free, perfect in relation only to itself. Kiss your curves like a prayer, anoint your fingers with honey. From your own jar spread wings and legs and heart and flowered benediction. Become a disciple of inner devotion. Resurrect the silver salvation of self-respect. Believe in yourself, in your wild holy heart again, like it's a sovereign religion. It is, and the world needs more missionaries. Well, that was pretty deep. Whatever that meant for you. The thing that stood out to me the most was trusting yourself, believing in yourself, believing in your own intuition. Number 11, the songstress. When was the last time you had a conversation with the moon? Made music for the night sky, sang songs to the stars. When was the last time you showed up fully, just as you are, and offered your voice to the universe, which incidentally means one song? So many of us let the idea of perfect get in the way of good. We refuse to make an offering of our art, music, service, ideas, mission, or soulcraft because we feel we aren't yet polished enough. We aren't accomplished enough, not educated, experienced, or professional enough. Or we're too much, too old, too late, too unoriginal. Too much and not enough still time and lives. Somewhere along the way we let perfect in the door, and it robbed us of our passions and our offering. But a woman in total control of herself knows she is part of earth and part sky. There are moonbeams in her veins and birdsong in her soul. She, like the moon, can show up with a single sliver of herself and still shine. She honors the birds that sing down the moon and sing up the sun, knowing they don't sing because they're professional or trained. They sing because they have a song. Now is the time to let go of expectations and the demands of perfection and offer yourself up in this moment, regardless of how much or how little you have. Show up, sing, shine. The world needs you as you are. So to conclude your reading today, trust yourself and have more faith than fear.